Yeah! Get excited, everybody. Get excited. The UFC back in Brazil, back in Rio de Janeiro. We got ourselves, a fight night card if we ever saw one, but it's going to be a good time. We have a fan favorite, Charles Oliveira, in the main event. Fascinating matchup against Mateusz Gamrot. Co-main event, high stakes, Davis and Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. We got Joel Alvarez moving to welterweight to fight Vicente Luque. That's kind of it. But there's some other things we could dig deep for and find some interest in. But today, right before this event, as we always do, we bring you the People's Pre-Fight Show here on MMAfighting.com. I am Mike Heck, and ladies and gentlemen, do we have a special guest for you? Because normally we have somebody that's at their house. They're sitting at their desk, much like I am right now. But today we're going live in Rio, in the arena where all the action is going to take place. Joining me right now in the People's Pre-Fight Show, the Brazilian beast himself, the one and only Guilherme Cruz. Gui, how we doing, my friend?
How you doing, sir? It's always a pleasure to talk to you. And yes, we're finally having the event here in Brazil. I see my connection already sucks, probably. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we can hear you though.
But yeah, happy to be here to talk some Cruz fighting, man. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you too. Classic UFC Wi-Fi stuff. I think the last time you tried to do this on site, the same exact thing happened. We were crystal clear until we went live, and then that UFC Wi-Fi just sort of kicked in. So we're starting to unpixelate here, which is good, which means oh, there he is. He's cleared up a little bit. You know how this works. Fire your questions in, super chats. You get to the front of the line. It's like getting into the club on a Saturday night. Sure, you can wait in line like everybody else, but if you just want to get in before us all, you want to piss everybody off, the velvet rope gets lifted for you while everyone says, how are they getting in before me? You can use the wonderful super chat feature, and you can do exactly that. So let's find our first question. Actually, first of all, Guy, something that you tweeted about in case people missed it. We had a massive weight miss yesterday.
Yeah.
Massive weight miss. And even though an agreement was made on 50% of the purse, there was still another hurdle that needed to be jumped over, correct? And I believe that hurdle was jumped over. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate. For the event opener, bantamweight fight between Simon Oliveira and Luan Lacerda, Simon Oliveira missed weight badly coming in at 144. You were like, no one in the room realized what was happening, because when there's a big weight miss, you expect a number ending like 8 or 9. But it was when John Gooden said 144, we were like, oh, maybe he misspoke. He meant 134, but that was not. It was 144, and there was a lot of confusion going on. The UFC eventually, hours later, the UFC said they wouldn't comment on the fine. They wouldn't reveal the fine, but then I asked around and realized that they cut a deal between camps for a 50% fine, and Simon Oliveira couldn't come to the arena heavier than 155, 20 pounds over the original weight class, and the hurdle was over. Then they came to the arena exactly at 155. I asked his team, and he probably would walk around 157, 158, 59 for a fight at bantamweight, but he had to keep his weight a little under to follow the stipulations. They weren't happy, of course, but they were happy that Lacerda agreed to the fight, and they were just, okay, we are gonna oblige anything you guys ask us. We screwed up, and we at least get this fight happening. So yeah, they are fighting. He came here at 155, so the fight is on.
Well, that is good. If you wanted 11 fist fights, you're getting them. We almost were down to 10, but Guy is here. He's battling through the awful UFC Wi-Fi. It is not on Guy. It is all on the UFC. You would think
yes.
You signed a $7.7 billion television deal. You can get some top-notch travel Wi-Fi, but that is not the case. So we do have a couple of super chats. Let's get here and start with Chase. Guy, this is for you. From what you're hearing, is John Jones the only fight that Alex wants next? Also, do you think it's likely they make it at the White House? So you got to be in the same building as the light heavyweight champion yesterday. He was a surprise entrant in the fan Q&A. He said a few things. So based on what you found out at the fan Q&A, what you heard Alex say, your reaction to these questions. Is John the only fight Alex wants? And do you think this is a likely thing based on the injury, the timeline, etc.?
Yeah, at first, before his rematch with Kalev, it didn't sound like he was interested that much in waiting for the White House card because it's only in June of next year. But then with a foot injury and all that, and I'm sure he talked to his team and all that to realize how big this is to fight in the White House. So they came to the conclusion, okay, this is the fight to ask for, John Jones, the White House. So at the moment, yes, I think that's the only thing that he's looking at. If the UFC says, and he was asked yesterday if he thinks John Jones is gonna do him like he did to Tom Aspinall, like force him to sit out and wait around and in the end never fight him. But he felt that no, they are both 30 years old, so he thinks John Jones is gonna be honest and sincere and come forward and say, okay, I want this fight or not. So he won't make Alex wait around that much. So yeah, right now they're focusing only in John Jones. So if John Jones comes out and says, okay, I don't want to do that, so they're gonna just move on. That doesn't mean staying in light heavyweight. I don't know if I think that's going to be a heavyweight. If not John Jones, he's going to be fight for the UFC title. And let me just try something to switch, change my Wi-Fi connection here to see if I can find a better one. Because
Okay.
I think, yeah, this one sucks.
All right. Yeah, I'll go solo for a sec. If you want to bounce back in. But yeah, I based on everything he just said, when we think of John Jones, honest and sincere are really two of the adjectives we think of when it comes to Johnny Bones. But I honestly think this is the fight they're going to try to make. I know Alex confirmed at that Q&A that there was a foot injury. I think it was a fracture, maybe a break. I'm not 100% sure, but he's going to be out for a while. And it looks like the timeline for the White House might match up pretty well. So I think that's a great fight. I think that makes a ton of sense. It's good for Alex. It's good for John. We're still going to give John some shit for not fighting Tom Aspinall, and he deserves every bit of it. But this is still a massive fight for a card such as that. So ST3, much love. Appreciate you. Hopefully the airport in Hartford, Connecticut, Bradley Airport, that I will be at like 4:30 this morning to fly back to South Carolina. Hopefully there's a Dunkin' Donuts in there, and we'll take advantage of that. FA007 asks, why is Fareed not in the top 15, and does he deserve it? I believe you're talking about Fareed Basharat. And I don't know. Good question. Chris Gutierrez is a good fighter, but he's not a top 15 fighter. And while the performance was impressive, he fell apart a little bit in the third round. So I honestly, while I think there is upside there, I think he's certainly going to be a guy that's going to be in the top 10. And at the end of the day, I think he gets in. I think eventually he gets in. And do we have Guy? Not yet. He's trying to get in. He's trying to get in. Oh, wait a minute. I think it's because he was doubly in. Let's see.
I'm back.
All right, you're back. The Wi-Fi is not much better.
Wi-Fi, it's so bad.
It's so bad. It's very bad. It's very bad.
It's gonna be a long night of living videos on MMA Fighting.
It's got to be an adventure. Just because of the Wi-Fi issues, I'll probably let you continue on with your day. But I do want to get your prediction on the main event before we let you go, Geek, because you're very fuzzy. We want to see everything. We want to hear everything. But it's just not great. I can't lie to you. So I will let you get ready. A very busy night ahead of you. But what is your prediction for the main event? Is Charles Oliveira get back on track against Mateusz Gamrot, or does he lose 2 in a row?
Yeah, it is a tough fight. Gamrot is no joke. I think it's a completely different fight from the original one in physique. But Gamrot presents a challenge that I would expect him to come and try to just hold Charles down and grab to a decision. But I mean, talking to Charles this week, talking to everyone in his team at the fight hotel. I mean, that guy is fired up, man. From Brazil as a local hero now, a complete different atmosphere around him compared to his last 5 years ago. It's incredible to see, and I would predict I'm going Oliveira by knockout in the second round. I think he's gonna get it done in the second round.
I actually have the same exact prediction, Guy. So perhaps we could both be right and prove that we are the smartest people in this sport.
Yes,
Covering this game. Covering this game.
Yeah.
Great job this week, Guy. Hopefully, maybe we'll try to get you back on for the post show or something. But you'll be doing the press conference and all that fun stuff. But great job this week. You're the man out there providing all the big news. I saw you getting just tagged by ESPN and the whole entire world for Alex Pereira stuff yesterday. And that just goes to show that you're doing such a fantastic job out there. So, Guy, appreciate you.
You're the man.
Wish the Wi-Fi was better, but we will let you go and enjoy the fights, my man.
Thank you very much, man.
All right. That is the absolute legend himself, Guilherme Cruz. Wish we could keep him on for longer, but yeah, the Wi-Fi was pretty terrible. And we'll sometimes that struggle bus is just not a fun one to stay on as much as we love Guy. So let's go back to the questions here. What do you think of the idea of them taking a point if a weight miss is over a certain limit? I've heard a few people bring this idea now. Nick Pete from Fight Disciples and Yana Santos, for example. I've been saying this for a long time. It should be a point deduction because that's where it matters most, right? A lot of this is because, sure, you could take 20 to 30%, but most of the fighters who are missing weight and doing so in such a way that it's like they don't give a shit, it's because they're not making a lot of money to begin with. So for their sake, they can think of it like, why am I going to sit there and struggle and cut this extra weight with the chance to lose the fight anyways and lose that second half of pay? Or I could lose 20, 30, 40% of my show money, win the fight, and still walk out better because I got my win bonus. And that's kind of, and that's the thing. Like it affects the wallet a little bit, but it's better than cutting the extra weight, making weight and losing. You're almost better missing weight, fighting at a better capacity health-wise because you didn't have to hit the struggle bus like that, and then win the fight, and then you get second half of your pay. So if you take a point away in the fight, that eliminates all of that. So that's why I actually like that idea of taking a point away. And the first round is, could be a 10-8. If they don't win the first round, it's like a guaranteed 10-8, maybe worse. So I actually like that idea. So, but it's never going to happen. No one cares. No one cares. Alex out 6 months now. Got a foot injury. He wants to fight at the White House. So the 6-month thing is fine. 6-month thing is fine. If we want him to fight John Jones at the White House, it lines up perfectly. Kodan Zeta. I think the biggest reason Montel is not caught on is because he only fights one time a year, maybe two every now and then, and he's already 33 at 135. Yeah, that's a big problem. The inactivity is a huge problem. There were some times where he's out for more than a year on multiple occasions, and he's just a really good fighter, but just nobody knows about him because the UFC caters to a group of people that really aren't fans. They're trying to bring in new fans. So every time Montel fights, newer fans are like, wow, who's this guy? He's really good. And then he goes away for a while. So this is a big opportunity for him. It was a good win in his last fight. I thought the Damon Blackshear win was incredible. I think that is aged incredibly well. And now he gets a chance to fight a former champion. And this is probably his last chance. Like if he wants to make a real run up the rankings and maybe fight for a belt in 2026, 2027, this is a must win for Montel Jackson for a lot of the reasons that Conan Zena pointed out. Master Universe Classic. How would you sum up this year of UFC fights compared to previous ones? Favorite year since 2020? This one, I think 2023 was better. Like, there's just so much more memorable things that happened in 2023. That was like the big Sean Strickland year, and Izzy got, Izzy lost the belt, but he knocked out Pereira in such vicious fashion. There's just like so much that happened in 23. That was a really big year. I don't know if it's better than that, but hopefully 26 is like 2016, because that was the best year in the history of the sport. Chase, isn't it crazy that if the Alex versus John fight happens, the biggest heavyweight fight won't include Tom? True story. But if Alex wins, Alex versus Aspinall would be gigantic. Be a huge fight. So, Michael, awesome. Appreciate you. Some John Cena jokes. Cool hat. Thank you, old Dave. Didn't realize Montel was in his 30s. Yeah. Montel's been in the UFC since 2018. He's been here for a hot minute. Got a spot on. Did he even get a contract? Did he get a contract on his Contender Series fight? Let me check that. He didn't. He didn't get a contract. And that's the thing. Listen, okay. And I love going on this, I go on this Contender Series rant as much as possible. Listen to this card, this Contender Series card. This was June of 2018. Listen to this Contender Series card that Montel Jackson was a part of. The opening bout was Kevin Holland versus Will Santiago. Wins a dominant decision, talked a ton of shit, and Dana White made fun of him and didn't give him a contract. Montel Jackson beat the hell out of Rico DeShulo, a New England guy, got a finish in the third round, did not get a contract. Greg Hardy fought Austin Lane on the card, got a UFC contract with a 57-second knockout. This was also the infamous Chris Curtis Contender Series card. He fought Sean Lawley, another New England guy, got a nasty finish, did not get a contract. And then Alonzo Menafield was in the main event. He got an 8-second knockout and he got a contract. So, yeah, it just goes to show you, like, you don't even have to, now you don't even have to win. You don't even have to win to get a contract. But back in like 2018, you had to blow the doors off to get it. Yeah, it was the hook kick from Chris Curtis, like a sick knockout, and did not get a contract. And we're like, what? How does he not get a contract? I mean, eventually he got in and did his thing, but yeah, that's a wild card. Greg Hardy got into the UFC. Montel Jackson didn't. Kevin Holland didn't get a contract. And Chris Curtis didn't get a contract that night. So, yeah. Uh, 2023 at 290, which is a very underrated IFW. That was one of the best of UFC 290 is one of the best events in the last like 7 or 8 years. It was so good. So good. If JDM beats Islam, is he fighter of the year? Boy, it makes things really interesting. Because, I mean, it's real hard to pass over a guy who has 3 title defenses. And all, like, one was against Umar in a fight that I mean, most people felt Merab was going to lose that fight. And he goes out there and beats Umar in one of, at worst, 10 most fun fights of the year. Then he destroys Sean O'Malley, gets a finish, and then he dominates Corey Sandhagen. It's going to be tough, but JDM beating Bilal and then beating the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, that might do it. It probably depends on how he does it, because JDM's win over Bilal is going to be on the fight of the year list for sure. Yeah, it's going to make things really, really interesting. DJ Serenity going to do some apple picking. Respect, dude. I've been back in Massachusetts for the last like 6 days, so it's fun. I could see the apple picking stuff going on. I had an apple cider donut ice cream sundae thing last night. It's just awesome being up here in October. It's September, October is the best time to be up here for sure. But I got to head back tomorrow. What else we got? Mike doing this one solo. We had Guilherme, who is actually in the building at UFC Rio, but his Wi-Fi just was not good. And it's not his Wi-Fi. It's the UFC's Wi-Fi. Jay, who you're asking, why do you hate the sport? I hope you're not saying that to me. Mike, I'm intrigued to know how you feel about Brendan Loughnane, or how Brendan Loughnane would have done in the UFC now that you've seen his career more. I think he deserved an opportunity to get in. I thought his performance on the Contender Series was really good. And I'm trying to remember who he beat. Who was it? It was Bill Algeo. That was a good win. That was a really good win. But because like he shot a takedown at the end, Dana was like, no, you can't get a contract. And there are others who have dealt with that too. Like Austin Vanderford didn't get a contract after a quick finish. There's some other really good prospects that everybody liked that didn't get contracts for, it's interesting. Contender Series serves a completely different purpose than it did in 2018, unfortunately. It does. And that's the kicker. Because back in 2018, 2016, 2017, when the show started, nobody, and I'm telling you right now, no human being alive was a bigger Contender Series fan than this guy right here when it started. Because maybe Nolan King. I think it was probably Nolan King and I both were just massive fans of the Contender Series. Because it was truly the best fighters not in the UFC fighting each other every week. And it wasn't just a win got you a contract. The stakes were so incredibly high. And now it's a business move. Like that's what it is. We have all these cards to fill, and we have to make our investors and our stockholders happy. So the fighters that are making good money that have headline pay-per-views, we're quick to get rid of them, because we're going to sign 50 fighters off the Contender Series. And some of them are UFC caliber. There's no doubt about it. There's been actually a pretty darn good season, but you can see with some of the matchmaking this year, there are squash matches galore. And you actually saw it last week. Maybe the worst fighter in the history of the Contender Series competed last week and got knocked down in like 14 seconds. And everybody knew it too. So it's just one of those things where we know what they're doing. We're trying to load up the 12 and 12 contracts for all the Apex cards they need to fill. And that's what it is now, as opposed to the best fighters in the world that are not signed get the opportunity to fight for us. Now all you have to do is just show up on Contender Series and not have a terrible fight, and there's a chance you get in. And if you live in Las Vegas and you're managed by a UFC-friendly manager, you're getting in. And there are a lot of fighters who have competed in the UFC. They got short notice opportunities that absolutely should not have been in the UFC. Yeah, Ton Lee is another one. You down for Marcos, Fareed being each other's next fight? Sure. I'm okay with that. That's a fun fight. If Davis and Figueiredo beats Montel, the loser of Figgy and Montel wouldn't be bad either. He called out David Martinez. I actually like that fight too. Jonathan Martinez wouldn't be a bad one because he's teammates with Chris. Try to get one back for him. Don't hate that. El Gato de Santiago, not impressed with JDM. Halloween costume this year? I don't know. It's a great question. I read on the Squate website, former UFC fighter Thiago Tavares is back, but as a ringside physician. Thoughts on his return as a physician for today's main event? Very cool. Very, very cool. Random question, any fasting tips? It's actually like not the worst thing in the world. I guess, because I've done like the multi-day fasts twice. Once was like went perfectly. I had like no issues with it. I mean, obviously you deal with normal hunger and things of that nature, but the best piece of advice would be have a meal before you do it. Because I had like a set time the second time I did it. I was like, at 5 p.m. on this day, I'm starting it. And the way my day had gone was I ate breakfast and then I could not eat again because I had so much work going on. And I did not eat again until the fast was over. And I got a workout in as well. And it was not an easy one. And I was already off to a terrible start right there and then because I was exhausted. I had a hard workout. I needed to feed my body and didn't do it, but the fast had already started. So I would eat something right before, eat something real good that'll get you going. And then, yeah, black coffee will get you through, and drink a lot of water and just drink all the time. That's really all I can tell you. Danielle Wolf got a contract on Contender Series. Yes, she did. She sure did. Easy way to sign cheap talent. Quantity over quality. 100%. We got Apex cards to fill. I remember Data saying during the pandemic it would affect the next few years of new fighters due to restrictions on training, etc. I think that did play a part for a few years too. The UFC has gotten extremely fortunate. Like, they have just fallen into good fortune every chance they've gotten. No matter what went wrong, no matter what bad publicity they get, they fall into favor better than any organization, any sports league that I've ever seen. So it's really incredible how they cannot be stopped. Will you show Oliveira Gamrot live? No, we will not. Actually think you don't really want Charles fighting for the belt now after losing to Ilya. You want guys that haven't lost to Ilya be contending for the belt if you're the UFC. Yeah, but I want to see Charles Oliveira fight Max Holloway. Like, that is my fight. And yes, if you go to Wikipedia and Tapology, you will see that Max Holloway has a win over Charles Oliveira, but that is a fight that never really got started. Charles got hurt, and we never got the fight. That was in Saskatoon, Canada, and we never got it. So if Charles goes out and looks good tonight, I would love to see him versus Max Holloway. I think that fight makes all the sense in the world. It is my new Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway, and we got Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. So how do you think Archie Colgan does against Usman? I don't think Archie's going to fight Usman. I think Alfie Davis is going to fight Usman. So, and I think Usman beats both of them. Boston Mike, if Charles gets past Gamrot today, who'd you like to see him fight next? That'll probably be Max Holloway. Or if they're going to do, if Dan Hooker beats Arman Sarukian, Dan Hooker probably gets the Max fight. So it would be Max unless Dan Hooker wins. I think Janata versus Mario is an interesting fight. Do you think they're trying to jump Mario up the ladder? Or do you think they've lost faith in him because he was losing to Lane before the KO? I don't know. We'll see. It's a low-level heavyweight fight. Does anyone beat Merab? Not at bantamweight. Not at bantamweight. I don't think Umar beats him. I don't think anybody beats. The only, honestly, and maybe it's just because I die on takes like the best of them. I actually thought Corey Sandhagen had the best chance of beating Merab, and he didn't. He didn't win, and the fight was not very close. So yeah, no one's beaten him. The only guy who beats Merab is Merab, or if he goes to featherweight and fights like Volk or something. And even then, like if Merab beat Volkanovski, it would not surprise me. Was wondering the other day how would Francis versus Lesnar have gone. I think Francis would have killed Brock Lesnar. That fight would not have been competitive at all, and Francis would have nuked him. Is Mirzakhanov the new Ankalaev? I don't think the UFC wants him anywhere near a title. I don't know. We'll see what happens in his next fight. Mirzakhanov is pretty fun. He finishes everybody. So that's pretty helpful. And I honestly think, like, I think Ankalaev always got a bad rap too. So that's just me. Kevin, no. Who am I rooting for the rest of the MLB playoffs? Probably the Blue Jays. I know they're in our division, but, you know, for AK's sake, let's give Toronto a championship. It's been a long time since they won a World Series, dude. Is there a Topuria update? No. I think he fights in January, though. Have you announced what I think will be fight of the night? I'm going to do that in a second. Mariners have been very fun, too. They've been very, very fun. All right. Let's do the bonus thing. Let's see where we're at here. Performance bonus, I'm going. Let me pull up my picks real quick. Performance bonus, I'm going Charles Oliveira. You know what? No fight of the night. I think we're getting 4 performance bonuses. Oliveira, Alvarez, Pinto, Bia Mesquita. There you go, lazy. Giving Bia an extra 50 G's tonight. Who deserves the title shot on prop quiz, Aaron or Ben the Bane? I don't know. I haven't watched them. Seems like Ben did really well. It's a fun game, though. You got to get the right questions, though, because some of those questions are like right in your wheelhouse, and then some of them are just like, oh man, I wish I had more than 30 seconds to think about it. So, all right, let's run down the main card predictions. We will begin with Lucas Almeida, the plus 215 underdog. These odds are, of course, according to our friends at FanDuel, taking on Michael Aswell, who is a minus 260 favorite. I'm taking a dog shot here and going with Lucas Almeida via unanimous decision. Michael Aswell's fun. That fight's going to be real fun. If there is a fight tonight, there's a very good chance it's that one. I just have a feeling that the finishes are going to be rewarded more than the fights themselves. Ricardo Hamas, the minus 200 favorite, taking on Khan Offley, comes back at plus 168. Hamas via unanimous decision. Close fight, competitive fight, but I think Hamas gets it done. We go to the heavyweight matchup. Jonata Deniz, the minus 120 favorite, taking on Mario Pinto, who comes back at plus 102. And you heard my bonus predictions. I think Mario Pinto gets it done. I think he gets a first-round knockout. Gets a bonus on top of it. Let's go to the welterweight featured bout. Joel Alvarez, approaching a minus 600 favorite, minus 590, the comeback on Vicente Luque, plus 430. I understand why the betting odds are where they are, and I think we're going to look back at those betting odds when this fight is over and say, wow, Alvarez could have been an even bigger favorite. Alvarez almost gets a finish in round 1, and then he gets the finish in round 2 via KO, TKO, something of that variety. But Joel Alvarez starts his welterweight career off with a huge win and may very well be a ranked welterweight on Tuesday. Co-main event, the former UFC flyweight champion Deiveson Figueiredo, huge underdog, plus 265 to the favorite Montel Jackson, who is favored at minus 330 according to FanDuel. I'm going Montel Jackson here. I think he gets it done. I think it's a decision. I think he might sting Figgy a couple of times, but Figgy's damn tough, so I think he hangs around. But give me Montel Jackson via decision, and then we head to the main event of the evening. It is a straight pick'em, ladies and gentlemen. Charles Oliveira versus Mateusz Gamrot. Both fighters lined at minus 108. The pick for me, Charles Oliveira. Knockout, round 2. I think he gets it done. I think he finishes Mateusz Gamrot. Mateusz Gamrot is very hittable. I think Mateusz Gamrot's going to look really good in this fight. In fact, he might even win the first round. But in the end, ladies and gentlemen, it's all said and done. Charles Oliveira is sending the crowd home, jumping, going crazy, going bananas. Logan Oliveira. That's it, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the People's Pre-Fight Show. Fights are on. Fights are kicking off. AK and I will be back when it's all said and done. And we'll react to it all on the post-fight show. So we appreciate you all checking us out, asking your questions. Shout out to the super chatters. Shout out to the chatters. And enjoy the fights, everybody. We'll see you later on. Appreciate you. Have a great night.